What will you do with the time given to you? How will you gift life back with the best of who you are and what you can achieve? Each of us has a unique story, and on every journey the traveler asks, was the right path taken? Have I found my way? We chart this path giving and receiving, sometimes finding messages in the most surprising places. It's the cycle of life, and in each of our lives, we hope to extract wisdom from our experience, to ponder deep ideas and grasp profound lessons. We all have a story to tell.
This is a story of a 27-year-old girl who can't read and who can't write, but who ever realized what her potential was. I have a background in training blind runners, and a couple of years ago I'd taken a physically disabled person through the New York Marathon. And a crazy thought came to me. What if somebody with a mental challenge could complete the marathon?
I was just blown away that she had recognized and planted a seed that nobody had ever in 27 years done for Donna.
Lots of people came forward, volunteers to train with Donna. It was about 8 months. We covered about 800 kilometers, and we were ready for the 42-kilometer challenge. Donna recognized that this was her opportunity to shine. What was so amazing was to watch Astra and how they supported Donna through the process and how they helped her to build her confidence.
At 32 kilometers, I felt the pain and the anguish, but I knew she was resilient, and I knew she was determined, and I knew she was going to push through and finish this marathon.
Standing at the finishing line was a moment in time that I will never ever forget as a mother. My daughter had achieved the greatest thing that had ever been achieved on earth.
Astra is a home for the people that come here on a daily basis, and it's an incredibly supportive, caring environment, and they will do anything to help the people that work here reach their potential.
You have inspired us all.
It's been a privilege to have been part of a story that was just about hope and possibility.
When Sylvia Gottlieb's father died, leaving her immigrant mother struggling to cope, she and her 3 siblings were taken to the Cape Jewish Orphanage, later known as Aranja. It was a move that transformed Sylvia's life in so many ways.
I was 8 years old when I arrived at Aranja, when my mother dropped us there. At that stage, there were about 70 children. They were all standing at the top of the steps to welcome the newcomers. And as we were crying, "Mommy, don't leave us," you can just imagine the pity and the sadness. Don't leave us, because we were with her. She was so close to us. And coming up the steps, there was this little boy who came out of the crowd. And he said, "Don't worry," he said, "I'll look after you. And in September, please God, we'll be married 70 years. And that's what's been the happiest time of my life. When I was 18 years old, I decided I've got to give back for what the Jewish community had done for our families. It was just something I had to do. So much was changing in those years that I got involved into Highlands House. I put everything I got in my life into this. Everything. And I love what I'm doing. Well, every one of us are going to get older. We'll be needing different kinds of help. And there, the Jewish community are there to give it to you. There's not a soul in the city who needs help who can't get it, because we are there for you. I've received so much pleasure from helping people. I thank Hashem that I've been able to give back This year I'll be 91. I wish I could do more. But you know, comes a time when you just can't anymore. I wish I was younger. If I was younger, boy, I wish I was.
It's always a magnificent thing to see young Jewish community members stepping out of their comfort zones to volunteer in the service of others.
What started off as a school project, it's grown into so much more than that. The first time I came to Glendale, I was 14 years old. Over the years, I've really come to understand each resident's personality, and I've formed such close bonds with so many of the residents. They are people just like you and I. They appreciate the small gestures. They don't care much for the material things in life. It's not pity that they need, but love and understanding. And if you open your heart up to them, they'll open their whole world to you.
Making the change to live out your deepest calling takes great courage. When a former Herzlian took that leap, it was a homecoming and the unfolding of a deep sense of purpose.
I have a vivid memory of being a young boy sitting at a table with my father, and we come from a long line of doctors. So he said to me, "Benjamin, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A zoologist." I don't even think he knew what a zoologist was. So I went to university and I became a zoologist, but it didn't feed me in the way that I'd hoped. I was always hoping that something would come along, but nothing came along. And then one day, in speaking to my then fiancée, she said to me, "What about teaching?" I got thinking and I realized, this is it. This is my career. This is what I'm meant to be doing. That moment when she suggested teaching was a light bulb moment for me. What Herzler gave me was a strong connection to my community, a strong connection to my religion. They fostered my individuality. It gave me a sense of purpose and a sense of courage to go out there and forge my own way. And as a teacher, that's what I would like to do, to give back to my kids. I always wanted to live a life of purpose. I always wanted to live a life of meaning. And that's what teaching was for me. It was that realization that this is the vehicle through which I can make a difference.
When two brothers suffered terrible tragedy at a young age, the community stepped in. Their vision for the boys' future and unwavering care is borne out today in the boys' accomplishments, their humanity, and their desire to give back.
I was 10 when my mother died, and for a 10-year-old boy, it's your whole world. I was in assembly. My brother Simi had called me out of the assembly and took me up to the top field where the middle school is now built, and it told me that my dad had died. He was 42. My mother was 36 when she passed away.
All I know at the time was that things carried on, as much as normal as possible, and in fact the Jewish community stepped in and paid for, as far as I know, everything. Paid for my accommodation, paid for my remaining at Herzliya. And beyond that, they agreed to pay for university education, and I studied architecture for 6 years, again through the Board of Deputies. Amazing.
At that time, if I did not have a ranger, I'm not sure where I would have been. And not long ago, we as a practice, and Simi and I as brothers, were given a unique opportunity. We were approached to assist with the redevelopment of the Frank Avenue property for a ranger. And of course, for me, that really was the moment of full circle. The community, and through their assistance, and in the broader sense, I have been able to become an architect. We're happy, and we're able and fortunately in a position to give back. It helps me to say thank you, and to, more importantly, offer somebody else the kind of opportunities that I had.
This community, particularly Cape Town community, supports everyone in the Jewish community from cradle to grave, and it really does. There's no part of one's life that isn't touched by some function, some charity, some function that the Jewish community takes care of.
I'm now in a position to give more, I need less from the Jewish community, I can give more, and that's a very special place to be.
Keren Hayesod, the central fundraising organization for Israel in the Jewish world, is supported by the IUA. Working tirelessly towards enhancing Israeli society, it is active in Aliyah and Klita, educating and helping those in need.
For us to be in Israel and know that half of our people who are not living in Israel and they support us from the outside, from afar, makes us even more resilient. Israel is facing, as we all know, some challenging security and other uncertainties. And as a mother of children who served and still are serving in the defense forces, I can tell you here that when you support us, we in Israel feel it. We know it, we feel it, and it makes us much more resilient and strong. I'll never forget the first time I was taken to see a Keren Hayesod IUA project in a youth village, and there was a 10-year-old boy from the Ukraine who made Aliyah. A few months earlier, he came from a broken home, from disadvantaged parents who left him out in the street, and we literally collected him and gave him a home, gave him a shelter. He took me by the hand and he showed me his room and the bed that he received and the shelter, and he was so happy I could see it in his eyes. And this is when I was touched, and this is when I felt that the diaspora assistance is making a difference in Israel. I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud to be one of many implementers who bring the diaspora closer to Israel. You here in beautiful Cape Town, closer to us, and also us, much closer, linked and bonded with you here.
In so many ways, each story is every person's story. Each teaches us about life's challenges and triumphs, and about the material and spiritual power of giving. As always, our success at the UJC is made possible by you, our precious donors. And so again in the days ahead, we look to you to support our extraordinary organizations and projects. Together, we can live out our highest values.